Good morning, good morning, morning. I'm coming on more often. Oh, my tablet's glitching. I'm coming on more often. Trying to get used to coming on, going live. I haven't really liked to go live. So I'm in a challenge and I'm trying to come on more often. So I'm glad if you guys join me when I'm live. If not, I'm glad that you guys watch the replays, and when you do, you hit the hashtag replay. So today I'm gonna go back to the book and read some more, and then we'll do I'll do a couple other things. I want to try going for 45 minutes to an hour. Usually when people go on to do live sales, it's 30-45 minutes to an hour. I do okay with 30 minutes when I'm doing a live sale, but usually when I go on my page alone, my business page I should say, and try to bring up the point or whatever, I get anxiety attacks and want to rush through. So I only make it 5 minutes. So I'm trying to increase my times and everything. So glad you guys could join, and I'm happy you're all here. So let's start reading on the book. It's only been 3 minutes. It takes 7 to get a feed going on Facebook. But I will start here. And I'm back with the book from Louise L Hay and her friends, Gratitude, A Way of Life. And the other day it went by really quick, and I read 2 chapters. So let's go again. Grateful Reflections. Hold it up here so you can still see my face. Carolyn A. Bratton is the co-founder of Lifestream Center, Roanoke, Virginia's only Bolastic Healing Center, and Holistic Healing Center, and she is an ordained minister as well. A gratitude of 2 of Louise Hay's intensive training programs for several years. Caroline has been conducting workshops and seminars in both the United States and abroad based on Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, and James Redfield's bestseller, The Celestine Prophecy. When I look back on my life and how incredible it has unfolded, with all of the lessons I have been taught by the masters who have helped me, look at the dark corners of my life, I am in awe at this wonderful thing called life. So yes, I am indeed grateful. At sometimes more than others, but nevertheless, I am filled with humbling gratitude that I have the opportunity to be acting out my life as this most auspicious time in the history of our planet. Gratitude is something that is so important to me. Gratitude is something that is so important to one's quality of life. For me, I know that when I'm in gratitude, my channel is wide open for any and all good that could make its way to me. The opposite is also true. If nothing is happening in my life, All I have to do is check the gratitude barometer, and there it is. A closed heart renders a closed lifeline to the source of all happiness, joy, and bliss. It has become my practice to operate in the act as if mode. That is, I act as if I'm grateful even when I'm finding it difficult to muster up the fuzzy feeling that just naturally comes when one is thankful and grateful. And before too long, I am grateful. I have found that it's an interesting ritual to sing a tune to all the things I am grateful for when I am riding in my car. I begin my song with simple thank you for whatever. Hi, Melissa. I begin my song with a simple thank you for whatever and whatever seems to unclog an endless supply of things that I'm grateful for. This practice is especially uplifting if I'm not in a particular grateful mood. The tune or ditty becomes quite creative, and soon I find that I am smiling at myself, which, by the way, is a great way to nurture and amuse your own best friend, you. Another thing I love to do is to say thank you, and I would add that the word yes, as Louise Hay says in her wonderful affirmation. I say yes to life, and life says yes to me. With that kind of chemistry floating around in your head, your body, the others emanating from you and touching everyone and everything, it's bound to come back to you and come back multiplied. When we sometimes forget that we are good beings and that the intent of the Creator was for us to enjoy this thing called life, our lessons can be filled with joy instead of so much pain. And when our attitude comes from a loving, grateful, and appreciative place in the heart, the masters and the angels and the guides can assist us even more. When we ask for their assistance, we can be ever so grateful for this planetary having troubles here. I'll reread that sentence. When we ask for their assistance, we can be ever so grateful for this planetary hierarchy that is more than willing to help us. It is then that we realize that we are never alone on our path. I find that the more willing I am to be grateful for the small things in my life, the bigger stuff just seems to show up from unexpected sources. And I am constantly looking forward to each day with all of the surprises that keep coming my way. So if your life is not working for you right now, it could be because that gratitude attitude needs a loving adjustment. Decree and affirm that you are willing to be more grateful and watch life's gifts come to you. Also be more willing to be giving. The more grateful you are, the more good will come to you. The more you give, the more you receive. Life, how good it is, and so it is, and so be it. Ooh, the next one's a long one. And I'll read that one in just a minute. How many of you guys go grab something on your way home from like running around or whatever to eat, and you're just like, well, I'll just grab this on the way home, but then you spend like $30 for a meal for two at a fast food place. And then you get at home because you go through drive-through real fast. You get at home and fries are cold. Chicken nuggets are cold. They're both stale. And even, we went to Arby's last night, and even the roast beef was kind of cold and stale. So then you try calling the store to complain about it. You call the 800 number, have a bad connection, get disconnected. You try and go online to complain about it, and your computer just keeps loading up, so you can't get to it. And then you finally get a message that says there's been an error. So then you try calling the store again. And then I finally left it to call today. And the phone rang and rang and rang and rang and rang. And then they hung up on me. Now, if that isn't crappy service, I really feel sorry for Arby's corporate when people like me start to complain and have them shut down. Because we shouldn't have got stale food. We shouldn't have got cold food. We shouldn't have paid $30 to get food like that. So, our number was D2198, and that was down here in our downtown Cheyenne, Wyoming last night. And it wasn't even dinner hour, dinner rush. It was, let's see, 4:29 p.m. So, and now my son got some of these because it's getting close to Halloween. I don't know if I can turn it on right now with the lights or with the sun shining in. But it's a countdown calendar for Halloween. Each one, you can put stuff in the drawers. I tried to trace it with the marker, and after I did this, my hand hurt. But that's part of therapy, I guess. I will get the little one. I haven't pulled the tabs out of that one yet. This one I'm not done coloring with markers. But this one says trick or treat. I got confused when I colored it. And I was thinking, okay, every other one I can color orange and purple. Orange and purple. Well, they have little slots in there. I don't know how I can show. Maybe with this paper clip. They have little slots in there in between each one. So my calculations for trying to do it every other one was off. So I had to do one leg purple and one leg orange. But that's okay. I don't always get that stuff figured out right off of the bat. So I enjoyed working on that last night. So let's do a little bit of my crochet. I crochet for Lava Therapy. Of course, my yarn's stuck in the bag and I can't get it out. This is one of the Caron cakes. And so it just changes colors automatically as we go through this. So I'm working on a double crochet. It's really thin yarn, so I kind of struggle with it. So far it's a pink and grayish color, a gray, and a purple. So I'm going to wrap around the hook, go through the stitch, grab the yarn and pull through once. So then I have 3 on my hook. So then I'm going to wrap around, pull through 2. So that leaves me 2 on the hook, and then wrap around and pull through 2. That is a double crochet. So I'm going to do some of them real quick. And you know, when you're reading and you're holding your book, that gets tiresome too. So I'm trying to like mix everything up today a little bit. And then I'm just not constantly reading and struggling with the words. I've always had a problem with comprehension while reading, but since my strokes, I feel like I'm slurring a lot more, and I'm trying to correct that a little bit or control it a little bit when I read out loud. So I'm trying to work on that along with this challenge of going live. So I hope you guys are all having a great day. I hope your weather is really good. Starting to hear my son waking up. He's been taking a little bit of vacation time here and there because he only has so many days to use it up, so and I'm hoping my technical difficulties today isn't too bad on your guys' end. So I'm going to jump back onto, I'm getting ready to do the corner area on that blanket, or to turn the corner on that blanket. So I'm going to jump back up onto the reading and get this next chapter done. And I made a list today, so I'm just like marking some of it off. I need to make a logo too, but I've been kind of putting it off. I get frustrated with it. So this chapter is called Patty by Lee Carroll. Lee Carroll is the author of the Caron, K-R-Y-O-N book series, a love-filled suite of works that speak of the good news for the planet Earth. Found in metaphysical stores all over the planet, the books have become a source for renewed hope as we move into the uncertainty of the next millennium. He is the co-author of the Indigo Children, I-N-D-I-G-O, Children. There was no hope, I was told, that it was only a matter of time before the hand of God reached out to take the small remaining sparks of life from my deteriorating body. Each day, I lay in the same spot, staring at the wall next to me, waiting for Patty. She arrived about 3 p.m. each day to read to me, hold my hand, wipe my brow, and speak kind words of reassurance. She left at 6 p.m. each night. I had to pretend it was okay for her to go. And then try to figure out why I was being served dinner yet again, a seeming waste of food. Patty knew I was dying, and yet her eyes sparkled with hope, and her words were always cheerful. Even in the midst of my most painful times, she smiled and winked, that special wink that said, "Stop all of this self-pity stuff and come up to my level to meet me." Oddly enough, I did each time. It wasn't hard to do when I had a vibrant human being in front of me who cared about my last days. Like it mattered. I dreaded the visiting relatives, the awkward silence, the downcast eyes, and the sorrow they broadcast every time they visited. It was more than I could take. Patty was different. She was a trained nurse, or even one of those special workers who went to class to aid the terminally ill. She was simply a regular volunteer, but one who had decided to spend each afternoon of her life with a book in her hand reading to me. She loved the books. I can remember looking at her for hours, seemingly without even blinking as she read. She would read all the stories I loved to hear with great expressions. Sometimes she would cry or laugh to illustrate the story better. Every once so often, she would look up to see if I was still with her or if I needed anything. I never did. Her presence was enough to send the pain and fear fleeing into a special hiding spot for the moment that she sat by my side. The mornings were worse. Again, I was served a meal, much to my disgust. Why bother? Sometimes my body would feel like it was being eaten from the inside out, with all the accompanying pain that went with the vision. Sometimes I begged to be released from what I knew was coming. I prayed to whoever would listen, crying out that I was weary of all this trouble and expense. Then Patty would show up and everything would change. We never spoke of my impending death. She treated me like I was going to spring up and run the next track meet any minute. There was never a pity that I so often saw in the eyes of almost everyone else that came in. I knew the names of her children and her husband, and even once got to meet them all. What a family. None of them seemed to mind that they were in the presence of a dying person. They all took an angel course or something. Patty told me the secret later, and it was the only time she ever mentioned her spiritually or anything to do with God. She told me that all humans have a path that is known to God, and that somehow I was right where I agreed to be. And with all of it, there was honor for some reason. I laughed at her as I looked around at my surroundings and saw my bedpan, my half-full urine bag, and the tubes that were connected to my wrists. My eyes had grown more red with each passing day, and my complexion had turned to ash. I motioned with my tube-laden hand and said out loud, "Some honor, huh?" We had a good laugh, but she continued. She told me that she and her family believed that I had selected a special thing to do for the planet, and that my situation was somehow appropriate in the scheme of God's love. I didn't understand that at all, but it comforted me anyway. Hours after she left, I thought a whole lot about what she had said. Sorry, had to take a drink. The inevitable happened, and I received a major answer to my most often prayed for request. I had asked God, whom I never spoke to before, I got sick to let me go into the presence of my angel Patty, and I got my wish. It was far easier than I had thought, this dying thing. Patty was just getting into my favorite part of The Lord of the Rings when my heart stopped. There was a moment of fear when I realized what was happening. And Patty stopped reading as though I had sent her a mental message or something. She looked at me in a way that I had never seen her do up until now, and then I realized she had seen this before. A faint knowing glint in her eyes said, "Go peacefully into the arms of God." She placed her hand on my chest. We looked at each other in silence, and blackness took over for a moment or two. There was a tremendous light. I was free. I felt a grand release from my pain and began floating above my body while watching everything in the entire room. I saw my tired, frail body lying still on the bed with Patty's hands still on my chest. She closed her book slowly and remained still. Only then did she cry a bit, but she shed tears of joy at my freedom, and her countenance seemed filled with honor for my life. I was watching the whole thing. As I gently floated further away, I saw her astral wings and realized that just as I had somehow honored the earth with my passing, she was honoring the earth with her angelic service. Her body literally glowed with the role of who she was, as if there was a rainbow all around her head. My angel really was an angel, or at least an earth angel. As the room faded, I realized that I hadn't told Patty that I appreciated her hours of service or work, making my dying bearable. My gratitude toward her flooded over me, but perhaps too late. Did she know of my thanks for how she had comforted me? I was overwhelmed with emotion to think that one human being who had helped me the most in my entire life had never verbally heard me tell her I was grateful. Then I saw the others around me and understood everything. I was peaceful now, she knew. Don't ask me how, but Patty knew. She knew how grateful I was even as I moved away. I saw her raise her open hand and lift her face to me as if she could actually see me. Was she waving? The surreal scene was beginning to fade, and my new surroundings were starting to take shape. It was time to leave. Patty sat for a moment silently next to the body with her hand and face uplifted to the ceiling. She had been here and done this before. She felt the essence of life leave her friend on the bed. Then she waited for a moment for what always came next. She was overwhelmed by the celestial wash of love. The feeling in the room was so thick that it was like a fog of warm mist that vibrated with the gratitude of multitudes for what she had done. This is why she seldom cried with sorrow at this moment, for how could anyone be sorrowful at such an honored event? Grieving for the loss would come later, but for now, Patty sat in the place of honor for some time and celebrated the life of the one she had helped. No one came in, and she was alone to feel the love, thanks, and gratitude. Sorry, I set a timer. Trying to keep myself on for like 30 minutes. No one came in, and she was alone to feel the love, thanks, and gratitude of all the heavenly entities in God's treasury that had gathered to lay hands on her. Patty understood what was happening and remained reposed and tranquil as she received her gifts of gratitude. Feeling renewed, Patty slowly got up and gently covered her friend's head with the 3-day-old sheet. She rose and began to walk to the hospital office, where that very night she would receive the name of her next terminal patient, a person whom she would be with to read until the end, when she would again receive the anointing of gratitude and the incredible wash of love energy from those heavenly beings responsible for such things. Patty understood that what she had just gone through was the closest any human being on earth could ever be to God, and she rejoiced in the opportunity to do it all again. So it's been a while since I have read this whole book. We were talking Monday night in our group about gratitude and being grateful. I want to share my gratitude to you guys that follow me, that watch me, that support me in my business. I hope you guys are enjoying the reading time that I am doing. I know a lot of you do love the stuff that I do. Sorry, trying to get some more yarn out here. I wanted to get this purple that I have all wrapped around in today too, but kind of feel like I'm just making a mess here. So I'm still working on the double. I'm almost to the corner, so I can do a stack double. That one is a little bit harder to do than missed half of it. The stack double is a little harder to do, but when you do it, it does keep your ends straight. If I hold it up, maybe you can see it. I always forget I have a black jacket on, and I wear the jacket for a couple of things. I don't like my arms since my strokes. I have become highly allergic to like everything. I get major sores on it. Oops, I didn't show you the stacked double. And in order to keep me from digging at it, I wear the jacket. But I also wear the jacket like out in the sun because of my medication. I'm not supposed to be in the sun anymore. So when I do my gardening, I do that like early morning before the sun comes out, or just as the sun's coming out, so it's not too hot. I think I will wind up putting this whole thing and another whole skein in this. A skein of yarn can be buried in different areas or be various in different areas. Like here, is a skein of yarn. It's a thicker yarn. It's a thicker yarn. I rotate my yarn so that I can, it's a therapy for me to rotate to get the feeling of it all. This one is thin, and I'm using an ergonomic hook. I do use aluminum hooks. I do use light up hooks. One of these is a skein of yarn, so there's not much in there, but I rotate with it all. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. We are really close to the weekend being here, because that's tomorrow. I'm working on my logo. Sometimes I get frustrated with the program and set it aside. And sometimes I don't always look at the camera. Kind of hard when you're trying to get your crochet stitches just right. So I read 2 chapters in the book by Louise L Hay and her friends called A Gratitude, A Way of Life. I'm working on my logo. I made a list of things I was going to talk about today, and I'm through most of that now. Me and my son were out shopping one day, and we always hit the clearance items. And then I seen this little container, and I was all like, what is that? And I had heard people talk about the mini food. People make like the fake food and stuff like that, and that's cool. I may order some of those for my granddaughter. My youngest granddaughter likes to grab all her stuffed animals. Most of them are Pokemon. And she'll give you little vouchers or coins for you to spend in her store that she's made up. And she has fun with her little store. But you can't take any of it home because it's all her stuff. She'll sell it to you, but then you gotta leave it there. So we got some mini food. So there's more on salt. There's a jerks. We're gonna give this to her closer to probably next month, so then she has a little store to put it in, and then we've got this food and stuff too. So this is extra crunchy, skimpy, for the flamboyant, super yuck peanut butter outlet. This one is, you'd better scram. My mom is making mystery meat. Scares kids away. Here's a bottle of 6 You hate it, it hates you. So there's like just different things. Here's a bottle of horrid spray deodorant. Here's a can of Jolly Mean Giant. He loves to put peas. Some of these are like small and hard to read. Here's Minute Lice. A box of rats. A box of Milk Drone. Snack Attack snacks. The lazy way of feeding your dog. A box of Rice Krispies. Band Ache. Strips off the skin. Fossilized flavored E-Claps. Fiasco sauce. Sticker's actually trying to come off of that one. Fruit phobia. Cracker Jerk. Rivals. Speed Stick. I'm almost through these. Gurgle baby food. Pre-chewed mush. Strained from the finest grade A sloppy mud. Here's a Hit Cat. Kind of like shooting a cat. Here's Mrs. Clean. And she looks meaner than Mr. Clean. Here's Shingles. Stale old cedar. Here's Logs. Potato flavored wood chips. Here's Chef Bourgadie. Cyborg and meatballs. Here's Fishbone. That's what smells like Russian dressing. Here's Cop Tarts. Frosted handcuffs. Here's Ghoul Scouts. Thing Mints. And each one has like, see if I can't hold it a different way. Monsters on the cookies. And then there's garlic flavored Nerds. Takes your breath away. I don't know, it's hard to read. So there is some of her food that will go in her little store. Hi, Patty. You'll have to watch replay because I read a story about Patty today. So I've been on about 45, 46 minutes. And I'm gonna get off of here and get some work done. I'm getting ready to do some of my labels that I'll send with my product. So, and that'll list like my different social medias. So, I hope everyone is good. To stay warm, stay healthy, be grateful and positive. Have a great day. Love ya. Bye.